our Dutch Grand Prix
F1 driver ratings.
Tommy, how are you feeling about this one? We're back. Are your grades revved up, warmed up, and ready to go?
They are. It threw us right in at the deep end again. They're like, drive ratings is back, and we're going to make it as difficult as possible with multiple safety cars, different strategies, and yeah. Normally with Zandvoort, I very much expected maybe 20 laps into this race, thinking, right, that's driver ratings. We just do it based on qualifying, and instead, chaos.
Now I'm going to do a task. I'm going to set you all a task, watching and listening. Let's get positivity outweighing negativity in this comment section for driver ratings. Just once. I'm asking. Just for once. Just tell us how much you love this series. And then maybe, just maybe, us missing how Bortoleto got messed over by a certain safety car has ruined the entire video for you. So let's get straight into the man, the myth, the legend, Gabriel Bortoleto. He started the race in 13th and finished 15th. I am locking in a 5 out of 10 for Gabriel Bortoleto. What could have been, I think, for Bortoleto this weekend, a decent qualifying, a good qualifying, a very good qualifying, in fact, compared to Hulkenberg, who has struggled of late, especially this season, when it comes to Saturdays, and then just immediately lost almost all the positions, down to 19th at the beginning of the race, I think it was. He said he suffered an issue with the clutch, and from there on, it was pretty much just roll the dice and hope it works out for him. At one point, we thought, okay, maybe he stayed out for that second or third. I don't know how many safety cars. There was VSCs as well. But the last safety car, he stayed out, took a risk to try and get track position. But we've finally seen evidence, Tommy, where track position did not matter when you have tyres as old as that versus soft and mediums around you.
Yeah, I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Bortoleto as well. Been on such a great run of form, and when he qualified 13th, which I know he's been certainly higher, but ahead of his much experienced teammate, really, smashing him in qualifying at the moment. But it all went wrong, didn't it, at the start, and then getting contact with Stroll, and then it was always going to be difficult from there. So, 5 out of 10 for Bortoleto.
And the fans went for a 5 as well. Let's head to Nico Hulkenberg. Started the race in 17th, finished 14th.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Nico Hulkenberg as well. Qualified worse, finished just ahead of his teammate on the road, very close. He was a driver that things didn't go his way, but of course he qualified very poorly, which always makes it difficult around a track like Zandvoort. So that's why I've gone for a 5.
Yeah, he wasn't happy, was he, with some cheap pit stops when the safety cars came out. I've gone for a 5 out of 10 as well for Hulkenberg. Yeah, 17th round Zandvoort, you are asking for trouble. And we did not see a Silverstone repeat, a crazy... It was a kind of crazy race, wasn't it, with a lot of safety cars, and there were advantages to be gained, but Nico and Sauber in general just weren't able to do it. So I've gone for a 5. The fans, they agree. They've gone for a 5 as well. Alex Albon started the race in 15th, finished 5th. Oh, so this one I've been tossing and turning about this one, Tommy, because he qualified 15th. So I'm like, ooh, but then I saw his lap 1, and I'm like,
oh, his lap 1 was amazing.
So, with that being said, it's a 9. It's a 9 out of 10 for Alex Albon. I'm sorry, I can't give a 10. The qualifying was poor, and of course we had a few cars ahead that were just crashing into each other, and that's literally what he said after the race as well, was that people just started crashing into each other, and that's how Alex gained a lot of positions, but also a great race from him. That lap 1 was scintillating. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend going and taking a look at that. But it's a 9 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, I've gone for a 9 out of 10 for Alex Albon as well. His start was amazing. That was all his own doing. But that being said, out-qualified by his teammate quite comfortably, and then he also was potentially, he was behind his teammate before Sainz had that penalty. So it's not perfect from Alex Albon, but what a race. And that start, my word, go seek out and watch that start, because it is the stuff of dreams. Like, he just picked every perfect line at the start. It was amazing.
He really did. The fans gave him a 9 as well. Carlos Sainz started the race in 9th, finished 13th.
I have gone for a 6 out of 10 for Carlos. I don't want to be too harsh on him because I do think that penalty was absolutely ridiculous. But then at the same time, I do have to take into account that it does take two to tango, and you do take a risk every time you go for an overtake, particularly around the outside. Didn't work out for Carlos Sainz, and should have been a really, really good result for him because a fantastic qualifying, looked like he was going to potentially beat Albon until that, and then it all just unravelled from there.
It did. I have gone for a 6 out of 10 for Carlos, and I agree that as much as I think we both were on the podcast saying, look, I really don't agree with this penalty that's been given to him, he also did risk it round the outside of Liam Lawson when, yes, by the rules, he has not gained the corner. The problem is, and I guess this is something that until they change the rules will always be an issue of a driver, the defending driver, if they have the corner, they're able to just squeeze the other car. And that's what happened. They both got punctures. So Carlos did have a part to play in that one. I don't agree with those racing rules at all. I hate them, in fact. I absolutely despise them because you watch that and you go, surely Carlos deserves a bit of space here. But he doesn't, and he got a penalty as well. So, yeah, really upsetting for Carlos. Another race that's not gone his way this year, and it's a 6 out of 10 from me. The fans gave him a 6 as well. Isaac Hadjar started the race in 4th, finished 3rd. So he didn't qualify on the front row of the grid. So I've got to take that into account when I give him a 10 out of 10. How can you give him anything else? Hadjar, a bit close to even contemplating rubbishing the 11 that Hulkenberg got in Silverstone. But look, we're not going to do that. But it was just unbelievable to watch, to be honest with you. Didn't get lucky in the slightest, apart from obviously the Lando DNF. But in terms of the position he was in, that was completely by merit. He was holding off the cars behind, Leclerc, Russell, etc. In a racing ball. Yeah, the racing ball is good, but it doesn't belong, I would say, right fighting with Leclerc and Russell. And he did that, and also showed that he has that sort of mentality as well to hold them off, not feel the pressure. And delivered an amazing race, so it has to be a 10.
I'm also annoyed that I wasted, in my opinion, I've wasted the 11 out of 10. We said we'd allow one 11 out of 10, and
I've seen comments
if I could,
like, you're
if
gonna
I
regret
could
this,
retract
guys, when we did it.
Yeah, I would. I am saying now I would retract it to give Isaac Hadjar an 11. But this, for me, is even better than Hulkenberg's podium. The fact that he just was perfect all weekend as well. You know, the qualifying was sensational. The race was amazing. Had he finished 4th, he's still getting a 10 out of 10. And I'm saying that it's an absolutely sensational drive and basically perfect. I do wish there were less conversations about the Racing Bulls being this incredible car. And if Max Verstappen, and this has come from a Max Verstappen fanboy, that if Max was in it, he'd be winning the race and winning the World Championship by a mile. I don't think that's true at all. And I think Hadjar just deserves credit for delivering an absolutely brilliant performance in a car that shouldn't be there. So, it's an amazing job from Hadjar.
I do find it bizarre, this conversation, Tommy, about this whole... If Max went in the Racing Bulls, he'd win the championship, he'd win races, he'd beat McLaren, yada, yada, yada. To me, the Racing Bulls, yes, it's a really predictable car, it's really nice to drive, but it has a ceiling. So to kind of, as you say, sort of downgrade and sort of... I was going to swear, but I'm not going to. S on Hadjar's performance in some way. It's just not. It's not the chatter that I think that should be happening. That is all speculation. There is nothing to say that Max, especially with the fact that if you think of it logically, Max jumping into a car he's never driven without any testing and just rocking up to a weekend. Oh yeah, just put him in there, see how he does. Okay, it would be interesting to watch him in an FP1.
I think he'd be good, but he's not winning.
Good, he's not no guaranteeing he's putting half a second on Hadjar, is he?
Exactly. I think that's a load of rubbish that he'd just be miles up the road. He had the perfect qualifying. He nailed the lap of his life, and then managed to, do what he did in the race. So yeah, it did an amazing job.
Well done to Hadjar. A 10 from the fans as well, unsurprisingly. Liam Lawson started the race in 8th, finished 12th.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Liam Lawson. You know, you look at his teammate and where he finished. It's very disappointing to be out of the points. Of course, part of that is the contact with Sainz. I think he had his kind of price to pay in that as well. The fact that he kind of tried to squeeze him a little bit, in my opinion. And that is kind of the risk you take, that he was kind of hoping that Sainz would bail out. But Sainz is a very aggressive driver as well, and it's two aggressive drivers that neither of them wanted to yield, and that's the risk you take. So yeah, disappointing from Lawson.
So do you see Lawson as more of a part to play in this then? Like, how do you weigh
probably
it?
more than, the same as what I said in the podcast, more than Sainz, but not enough to get a penalty. I think he was just kind of basically like doing the bit of a Max Verstappen chop of like, no, I don't absolutely not, you're not coming around the outside of me, and that's the risk you take, and of course he got a puncture for it, but
I was
not enough
deliberating
penalty.
No, I was deliberating whether I would go for the same grade as Carlos, but then I also give slight more weighting to Lawson for this incident rather than Carlos, which again is why it mystified me for the 10-second penalty, but the racing rules and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to give a 5 out of 10 for Lawson. Yeah, of course, Hadjar right up there on the podium is not the best look, of course, for Lawson, who got tangled up in an incident. This was on Lawson. Like, this was his decision to wash wide slightly and squeeze Carlos, even if it's within the racing rules, right? You put yourself in that situation, and you know, if Carlos doesn't back out, which is what we saw, then this contact. Whether there would have been any penalty or anything without the punctures happening, I am not convinced. But you know, that's a conversation we had on the main race podcast. So yeah, I'm going to give a 5. The fans gave him a 5. Ollie Behrman started the race from the pit lane, finished 6th. Straight up 10. It's a 10 for Ollie. I don't care. I don't care that he had a shocking qualifying and was in the pit lane. He started from the pit lane, right? He got a little bit unlucky, I think, in qualifying. He said it himself. And Haas in general are just shocking in qualifying. Like they just really are. They cannot get Saturdays right. And then to finish 6th, yes, there was some luck involved, I think, as well. But they did the right strategy. And Ollie said after the race, right place at the right time, good calls on strategy. And the car was quick as well. Ollie made good moves, I think, at the end as well, to secure P6. And yeah, I think to do that around Zandvoort, I know that there is a stroke of luck here, but I can't give him any less than a 10 because this is his breakthrough moment.
I have gone for a 9 out of 10 for Ollie Behrman.
Get out. Basically a 4.
Out.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, exactly. Look, a fantastic race from Ollie Behrman. Pits to P6 in a Haas. Fantastic result, of course. He did have the much more good fortune than his teammate. Ocon actually was ahead of him and then pitted just as Leclerc crashed, which meant that Ocon dropped a load of positions and Behrman could pit behind the safety car. So for that reason, it's not a perfect 10, but still a fantastic result and a well-deserved 9, in my opinion, and a very high 9 as well.
The fans gave Ollie Behrman a 10, not a high 9. Next up is Esteban Ocon. Started the race in 18th, finished 10th.
I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for Esteban Ocon. As I mentioned, he was ahead of Ollie Behrman before the dose of bad luck. He lost a bunch of positions behind the safety car because of the timing. It was weird that he literally pitted and then Leclerc had his incident with Antonelli, and worst timing possible for Ocon. So I think he needs to be commended for still being able to basically drive back past a load of people and get a points finish despite the bad fortune. So that's why I'm giving him an 8 out of 10.
Lovely bit of insight, Tommy, there about Esteban Ocon. I've gone for an 8 as well. A good result for Haas and for Ocon. Could have been better, as we say. He said afterwards that lost 3, maybe 4 positions with the safety car. But yeah, a very, very positive result for Haas in general and for Ocon. The fans gave Ocon a 7. Let's go to Franco Colapinto. Started the race in 16th, finished 11th. I'm going to go for a 7 out of 10 for Franco Colapinto. I think it was a race that he can be proud of. He gained places off the start. He overtook Gasly and then gave the position back to Gasly. But then I think he was then once again later on, I mean, towards the end of the race, I think, with Gasly struggling, they were swapping again. But overall, Colapinto, he missed out on points, finished 11th, but I'm still considering this Alpine as being one of the stinkers of the grid. And I think Franco, when you compare him to Gasly as well, did a very commendable job. So that's why I've gone for a 7.
I've gone for a 7 as well for Franco Colapinto. He was half a second off a points finish, incredibly close. Of course, he kind of... I bet they wish now that they hadn't allowed Gasly to get back through because Colapinto ended up being the lead car. And that race changed so much with how the tyre strategy went and the fact that people were risking it on soft tyres, hard tyres, medium tyres, doing different things, that even a team like Alpine, they didn't know which car should actually be ahead. And then sometimes it's like, oh, Gasly's in the better position, and then equally Franco's in the better position, and it kind of swapped. But to be half a second off the points, he needs some credit for sure. So very disappointed he didn't get a point, actually. But yeah, 7 out of 10.
The fans gave him a 6. Pierre Gasly started the race in 14th, finished 17th.
I've gone for a 5 out of 10 for Pierre Gasly. Very disappointing result. I think it looks worse on paper. He just risked it at the end, tried to stay out, and obviously just fell away. It's something that we've said before of other teams. Why not at least just try it? So I commend them for trying it, because you never know, and you look like a genius if it does pay off. But instead, the people on fresher tyres just flew past him, and he tumbled down the order at the end.
Yeah, I've gone for a 5 out of 10 as well. You've got to commend Alpine for giving it a go, and for Gasly for trying that strategy. But yeah, he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. So that's why I've gone for a 5. I'm not going to downgrade him any lower than that. He went for it, and it did not pay off. The fans gave him a 5 as well. Lance Stroll started the race in 19th, finished 7th. Unbelievable. How on earth do you grade a man who's crashed the car twice and then scored more points than his teammate? Well, I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Lance Stroll, congratulations. You did it again. He becomes a meme. He crashes multiple times in one weekend and then finishes 7th. Like, the guy clearly can drive. We see this, and perhaps there needs to be some respect put on his name sometimes, right? There are times where he absolutely deserves the criticism he gets, but he does do these kind of drives every so often, and to go from 19th to 7th should be commended. It's obviously, there is some downgrading there due to the fact that he obliterated his car twice, but he bounced back. He said it himself, and I have to give him an 8 out of 10, so well done, Lance.
I have gone for a 7 out of 10 for Lance Stroll. Obliterated the car in practice and qualifying. Started at the back, but look, made it through to 7th. We say in crazy races that Lance Stroll does manage to get to the front, even when he of course had good fortune with the timing of safety cars and things. But he made it through into 7th place, and it's still a good result for Aston Martin to finish 7th. That's like a strong result when the kind of midfield is close. So yeah, I've gone for a 7 for Lance.
So let me just for a second. So pit lane to P6 Rolly Behrman, 9 out of 10. 19th to 7th is a 7 out of 10. Is that where's the downgrades coming from? Because that's what my brain's probably thinking. That's probably what a few fans' brains are thinking.
Crash the car in practice. Crash the car in practice. Crash the car in qualifying.
So is that a point each? Let's say there's no crashes. What would you?
It's not a 10 though, is it, for finishing 7th in Aston Martin? Because no, but even if he finished 7th, like his teammates finished 8th with bad luck. So like 7th is probably about where the Aston Martin should be. The Alonso coping mechanisms. And then of course he got let through by Alonso to go after Behrman, which he didn't do. So like he's finished ahead of Alonso because he's been let through as well. So that's why it's.
Was he the faster car though at the end there though?
Because he had fresher tyres, because Alonso pitted just before the safety car.
Yeah, it's amazing that almost every turn that Alonso.
Yeah, because I watch Alonso's race.
Full on board. Okay, the fans gave Lance an 8 out of 10. Let's head to Fernando Alonso, who started the race in 10th, finished 8th.
It's a 9 out... No, it's not. It's a 7. It's the same as Lance Stroll. A 7 out of 10 for Fernando Alonso. Of course, I can see everyone going, oh my God, why haven't you given him a higher grade? But, like, he finished ahead because Alonso let him go at the end. He had all the good luck in strategy. Alonso got shafted constantly, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give Alonso like an 8 or a 9 because he did have his own shortcomings, kind of struggled to get past people. And yeah, qualified 10th, finished 8th is like a solid result. I think kind of Aston Martin, based on what Alonso did and could have achieved in qualifying and what we saw from the Astons, I don't think 7th and 8th is the maximum that car could have achieved. So that's why they're both getting 7s.
It's interesting because I felt like Fernando did say like there wasn't much more pace in the car afterwards. So
true. 10 for Fernando.
We got baited by practice, I think, with the Astons and especially in Hungary as well. I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for Fernando Alonso. Look, I've got to commend
worse
his
than
teammate.
Stroll.
Got to commend a teammette that when he's done
Even
something
though he
like
got
that.
let
You know
him
what I'm saying?
through. Do you think there's a bias for Stroll in the fact that when he does something bad, he gets an unnecessarily harsher grade, and when he does something slightly good, he gets an unnecessarily good grade? That's
Perhaps.
what I'd argue.
Yeah, look, sometimes we have our driver ratings, which obviously get questioned all the time. But you know, we also take into account what we expect from a driver as well in some ways, don't we? So what I expect from Lance Stroll and what I expect from Fernando Alonso are two very different things, and perhaps that's where confusion sometimes lies. So that's where, my grades are usually very low for Lance, so I'm going to let him cook with an 8. Enjoy the money. That's what I'm going to say for Lance. And for Fernando, yeah, I thought there was a top 5 in it for Alonso this weekend, and it didn't work. He lost places at the start, dropped to P13. And then he said that the safety cars didn't help. But as I look at all the quotes almost from everybody that finished from sort of 6th below, they really didn't, or maybe 7th below, they didn't enjoy the safety cars. So it's 7 from me, and the fans gave him a 7 as well. Kimi Antonelli started the race in 11th, finished 16th. It is going to be a 3 out of 10 for Kimi Antonelli. It was a misjudgment. It was a silly error. It's not an absolutely catastrophic incident as much as it felt like it at the time. I'm seeing more and more criticism for Kimi Antonelli coming up now, and it is interesting to see people's opinions of Kimi and has he been promoted too soon? There are mistakes coming in now that is almost each weekend, but then Canada's so easily forgotten, and it's potential, but there's a lot of mistakes that we thought was going to happen at the start of the year, but it's happening now. It just needed to have a chill race, just needed to finish in P5, P6, and this would have been a lovely 8 out of 10 drive, but instead he ruined it and didn't get any points, so it's a 3 out of 10. I found it a bit strange he said that Charles started to come down the banking slightly, and that's when the contact happened. Charles was right at the top of the banking, my guy. He was not coming anywhere near you. It was you that came into him. So 3 out of 10. Don't open those can of worms again. We're just going to pass to you.
You'll be giving him a 0 by the time
I'm going to change my grade by the time I've finished talking.
I've gone for a 3 out of 10 as well. It was between a 2 and a 3. I'll go for a 3 because I think until that move, he was looking to have a decent result. But that doesn't take away from the fact.
Great race.
Yeah, he was having a very good race. Yeah, it was a stupid move that didn't need to happen, and all his great work was completely undone by a totally unnecessary move that was never on.
No, I'm changing mine to a 2. He sped in the pit lane. It's a 2 out of 10. Nah, I just thought of it as well. I just thought of the Charles Leclerc incident again. It's a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare for Antonelli because I appreciate the fact that he's on fresher tyres. He knows that's his only chance to make a move, but you need to kind of use your brain there of like risk versus reward. And I do appreciate he's in a top team and the pressure's on him more. But that being said, you didn't see Hadjar when he was within half a second of Verstappen trying to go for an absolute hero move and try and get a podium. So it's a tough weekend for Antonelli, and hopefully he can bounce back from it because this should have been the race where we just forgot about that end to the before the summer break.
Well, he's heading to a track that he ended up in the wall after a lap and a half of free practice. So he'll be
he's
full of
incredibly
confidence.
good in a Formula One car at 2/3 of that track. I can't wait to see how he gets around that parabolica. And if his Sector 3 is good
deliver.
as well.
I really do hope he delivers
me too.
in Italy of all places.
His home race as well, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. The fans gave him a 3 out of 10. George Russell started the race in 5th, finished 4th.
Oh my word, this one's difficult. I am going to give George Russell a 7 out of 10. It's a tough one because I look at the result and I see 4th and you go, that is probably whereabouts the Mercedes was. But then, of course, Lando Norris retired. 2 Ferraris retired. I know Hamilton would have been behind him, but Leclerc was ahead of him. And also, he's been beaten by Isaac Hadjar. So, yeah, I'll go for a 7. I do think that George maybe had more in him this weekend. But it's still a decent race from him, and a crazy result, actually. To get P4 is kind of like what he would do sometimes on his best days, but I don't think this was his best day.
No, it wasn't his best day. I've gone for a 7 out of 10 for George Russell. I think that the damage was massively hampering him. He said after the race that he was losing a second per lap because of the damage with Charles. So for him to still finish 4th is wild. But he also then said that it was a bad start from him, poor driving to let Charles through, and just overall wasn't the best race. So yeah, as much as 4th looks great on paper, there's a lot more, I think, that was on the table for George, at least in race time. There's not a lot many more positions you can gain, especially when you've got Verstappen and Piastri in 1st and 2nd. But yeah, 3rd would have been an easy 8 or 9 out of 10 maybe for George. But instead, it was kind of what could have been. The fans gave him a 7 as well. Yuki Tsunoda started the race in 12th, finished 9th. This one's a bit crazy, you know. I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Yuki Tsunoda. I thought, yeah, I'm happy for him. Do I give him a 7? But then I'm like, it's 9th, and cars literally crashed in front of him, and it was a crazy race, and he still only finished 9th. It's sad to see. From what he's saying after the race, he's feeling a little bit more confident in the car, and there's pace being extracted, and qualifying is quite difficult round here when it's such a short lap, and the Red Bull clearly isn't there anyway in comparison to the McLarens, but it's still nowhere near like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 performance in my eyes. So I'm going to have to give it. It's probably not going to go down very well, but look, it's 9th, and he gained positions from drivers not finishing. So yeah, there you go. Tommy, am I in the wrong?
No, you're not. I've gone for a 6 out of 10 for Yuki Tsunoda as well. It's not a 7 out of 10 drive for finishing 9th in a Red Bull. We know the second Red Bull and all this guy. We have this conversation every single time, and Max Verstappen's finished the race in 2nd. But even with that, the fact that the second Red Bull has been incredibly hard to score points in, he's finished 9th in a race of attrition where 2 Ferraris and a McLaren have retired, where Isaac Hadjar has got on the podium, where Lance Stroll has smashed his car twice and still come through and beaten him, where Ollie Behrman has finished 6th in a Haas. So 9th is not 7 out of 10 worthy in my opinion. So yeah, I've gone for a 6 as well.
Well, the fans disagree. They think it is 7 out of 10 worthy because that's what they have gone for. Max Verstappen started the race in 3rd, finished 2nd.
I have gone for a 9 out of 10 for Max Verstappen. A difficult one to grade because how much of it now is like, can Max only get a 10 by beating the McLarens, but can anyone beat a McLaren? It's a tough one because, he got one of them at the start. He tried everything, but it was quite clear from everything that played out that the McLarens were just too far gone. One thing that when I watched back the replay, because so much happened I totally forgot about, was that absolutely mad start. Verstappen went for the kind of glory overtake around the outside of Oscar Piastri to try and take the lead, and in doing that actually allowed Lando to get back through, but Max was like, absolutely no way you're coming through. And how he didn't lose the car, and I mean, what a different world championship it would have been if Max had lost the car and smashed into the side of Oscar Piastri and Lando won. So crazy.
No, but then Lando wouldn't have won. Hadjar would have won.
Hadjar win, yeah. In alternate reality, Hadjar wins the race.
Oh my! With a Lando DNF a few laps from the end. Goodness gracious me! I have gone for a 9 out of 10 as well for Max Verstappen. A really good bounce back from Max. I'm not surprised in the slightest. That move on, as you say, on lap 1, that was just ridiculous. Had he just binned it, that would have been quite the... Yeah, I don't know how you would have coped with that one, Tommy, to be honest with you. But the fact that he even managed to get ahead of Norris, it was a great strategy call to start on the softs and just try something different, maybe hope for a bit of rain coming. I think that's the kind of thinking they were having, and it was the right decision. And you knew it was coming. You knew that he was going to try that from the fact that he had beached it in the gravel in exactly turn 1. The fans gave him a 9. Lewis Hamilton started the race in 7th, did not finish. Oh, Lord, this one's a difficult one because he'd crashed on his own and it was a little bit slippery, but everybody was dealing with the slipperiness. It's going to be a 2 out of 10 for Lewis Hamilton. I'm really sorry. It's shocking to see that Hamilton was the only one in those slightly damp conditions to be the one that made the mistake and crashed. Up until that point, he was looking pretty good. In comparison to Charles in qualifying, it was very close between the two of them. Hamilton was not far back from Charles during the race as well. And then it just all went wrong. I couldn't believe the sort of flash cut camera angle to a Lewis Hamilton that's crashed in the wall. It's bizarre to watch, and it just further compounds the season that he's having at the moment. So, yeah, I can't give him any higher than a 2. I really can't, because he's crashed out through no fault of than his own.
Yeah, I've gone for a 3 out of 10 for Lewis Hamilton. Crashing the car on your own, he's the only one in that race that has retired through essentially his own fault. So, really difficult race for Hamilton when it was looking good. And had he just finished behind Leclerc on the road, had Leclerc also not been obviously retired, we'd be saying, it's not really too much to worry about. But instead, everything's going to kind of ramp up again, and all the chatter of kind of what is going wrong with Lewis Hamilton.
And may I also add, the reason I went for a 2 is not only because of the fact he crashed out on his own, but he picked up a penalty before the race had even begun by speeding around the final corner when there's double waved yellows, and then he's just gone into the pits like practicing coming into the pits during a race. And that is something that the drivers were told prior to the pre-race reconnaissance lap, is that it would be double waved yellows because of the nature of the track. So now he's got a 5-place grid penalty for Monza. Something I said in best reactions was that I'm a bit disappointed with the stewards to have not made that decision, which literally happened before the start of the race, and he's carrying a penalty into the next race because they had to look at telemetry here and telemetry there and this, that and the other, and this is why it was a slow process. It's like, that doesn't make sense to me. What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, it's a big one to take that penalty into Monza because, well, is this going to be a race where you think Ferrari would deliver, even the years that they have a tough year? They do seem to get to Monza and know how to kind of make that car work. So it'll be absolutely gutting for him if Ferrari are quick and challenging at the front, that he has that five place penalty.
Watch Hamilton get pole at Monza now. You've heard it here first.
It would be a Schumacher. It'd be the Schumacher at Monaco all over again, wouldn't it?
Michael Schumacher at Monaco, that is heartbreak. I will never get over the fact that he had a penalty into the race. Okay, so let's not talk about that. The fans gave Hamilton a 4 out of 10. Interesting. Charles Leclerc started the race in 6th. Didn't finish either, because neither of them did.
I've gone for an 8 out of 10 for Charles Leclerc. He was driving a good race. The move on Russell, I absolutely loved. That's what I want to see from Formula One drivers. And look, I've said this before, and I said that I'm so glad they did not penalise that move, and it's just further cements that Charles Leclerc is one of the best wheel-to-wheel drivers in the sport. And it was a great result. I can't give him a 9 personally because, in my opinion, he was going to finish behind Hadjar. we don't know what would have happened out the pits. I know it wasn't his fault for pitting again, but of course he was then ended up behind a couple of cars as well, and it's all if buts from maybes, but it was still a good race from Charles Leclerc.
Well, you know what, Tommy? I can go for a 9, and I will, because I think Charles Leclerc was having a great race, to be honest with you. That Ferrari, especially at the start of Friday, was looking shockingly bad. They managed to turn it around to have a pretty good qualifying, and then from there, I know we're saying like Hadjar, Hadjar's the benchmark. How can we give anyone else any other good grades? But Hadjar had a phenomenal weekend and got every last droplet out of that car. So I'm not going to take away from Charles Leclerc's race just purely because of that. And I'm not giving Leclerc a 10. I'm giving him a 9 because I think it was a very good race that he was putting down and had, that move on Russell deserves a 20 out of 10. Just that. Like, he came from so far back, Tommy, on George Russell of all people. Anyway, that's my court case, is that Charles Leclerc deserves a low 9. A low 9. Low 9. Please don't hurt me.
Okay. Well, I just want to grill you because I know you like to grill me on my fanboyism.
No. I am helping the fans understand. So go on, hit me back.
Okay. I just would love to hear your kind of theory of why Charles Leclerc deserves the same grade as Max Verstappen, who finished second in the Red Bull when Charles qualified 6th, wasn't massively quicker than Lewis Hamilton, and then, of course, made that move but was going to finish behind Hadjar, and then we don't know where he's going to finish because I know it wasn't his fault that he crashed, but we don't know what would have happened in those last 20 laps.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Tommy. Next time, don't ask it. No, I'm kidding. I think that the reason I've gone for that is because I'm not putting the Red Bull and the Ferrari in the same universe this weekend. I think that Max has done a very good job and that Red Bull was decent. Yes, we look at Yuki Tsunoda. He's struggling. Yeah, whatever. But we know that's sadly the second seat is an anomaly. Max did a very good job. Is it a 10? No, it's a high 9. Charles Leclerc's a low 9, but we don't do lows and highs here. We just do absolutes, Tommy.
As we said, yeah.
Exactly. And I know everybody's going to be writing their opinion as well right now. And the difference between an 8 and a 9 is astronomical, isn't it? It's an entire number. So, yeah, there you go. I'm standing on business, Tommy. I'm standing on the fact Charles was having a fantastic weekend. And we're going to go with a 9. The fans also went for a 9. Please get your comments in on how you agree with me. Thank you. So we now head to the McLarens. Oscar Piastri started the race in first, finished first. Well, this is going to be difficult, isn't it? It's a 10. It's his first Grand Slam of his career. Well done to Oscar Piastri for that. He had it in the locker. Very close in qualifying. I know that Lando has been saying that he got a bit unlucky with the wind and things like that in qualifying. Like I'm kind of sat there going, I mean, the wind can change at any point. I know he's talking more about the run to the line and the fact Oscar did also get a little bit of a slipstream, I think, from a racing ball. So yeah, there is small bits of luck here and there, but that's Formula One. Oscar managed the race perfectly well. He made sure that Max didn't get a sniff out of turn 1. And from there on, he just seemed untouchable. Yes, Lando got close, but we know with dirty air there's very little chance of him getting close. I think Lando one lap had DRS and then from there fell away. So it's a perfect score because it's a perfect weekend from Oscar. He literally got the Grand Slam. So well done.
Yep. It's a 10 out of 10 for Oscar Piastri. Perfect score from a perfect weekend. He had the luxury, of course, of being ahead, but he got the pole position, and that's the position that he put himself in. So it's a moment of the championship, of course, as well, where he got some good fortune in the fact that Lando had the failure. But I just hope that if Oscar Piastri does win the title and wins it, and does win that title with a decent points margin, we won't look back on it and kind of consider him like this really good, fortunate champion, because he's driving superbly, and I think he absolutely, is the way he's driven so far. He's absolutely deserving of this championship anyway, and we'll find out what Lando can do in these final races, whether he can overcome that points deficit, and we'll see how it all stacks up at the end. But yeah, Piastri is just driving so well, and what a what a big drive from him.
Yeah, a massive drive from Oscar, and you cannot say that he is not a deserving champion at the end of this season. He has had so many flawless weekends where he has just dominated from the front, and that is the sign of a champion. It is unlucky for Lando, and we will reflect after Abu Dhabi what the points margin is, but at the same time, Oscar has been brilliant, and we can't take that away from him. The fans gave him a 10 out of 10 as well. Lando Norris started the race in second, technically finished 18th, but basically a DNF.
I've gone for a 9 out of 10 for Lando Norris. I think it would be very easy to go, some people will go, Lando deserves an 8 because he got passed by Max and all this kind of stuff. But it was such a small gap in qualifying that once you're kind of on the dirty side of the grid and Max had soft tyres, I think it was going to be a little bit difficult anyway for Lando. I don't think that's him bottling the start or anything. That's just Max doing a brilliant start and taking that risk. And then, made the move back, caught Piastri up. I've heard some people saying that, he pushed his car a lot to try and catch up. His team told him, of course, the only way we're going to win this race is for you to absolutely go for it. In the Formula One now, with how reliability is working and how bulletproof a lot of these cars are, you couldn't expect even McLaren when for them to basically let Lando go for it. They would never have thought in their wildest dreams that it would result in basically a mechanical failure. It's just bad luck. So that's why I've gone for a 9 for Lando. The very fine margins could have been very different had he got pole position, but of course he didn't. So it's a 9. It's
a 9 out of 10 from me as well for Lando. Back-to-back weekends now where he gets a pretty good start and then gets shafted because of the way in which he selected his track position. Of course, Max on the soft tyres was always going to do something, and he did, and of course got a great start as well. But in comparison to Oscar, Lando had when we first saw him, Lando, has he got a good start? So you can't really say he bottled the start. It's not like he got a horrendous launch or anything like that. It's just the way of Zandvoort where you can swing it round the outside, and when your opponent has softer tyres, then they're always going to have an opportunity. But apart from that, he didn't put a foot wrong. He was just behind Piastri. Sadly, in the case of Formula One in these days, just can't get close enough to overtake. And so fully does deserve a 9 out of 10. He said after the race that you get dirty air at 4 seconds, and he said he was pretty happy with the fact that he was able to stay as close as he was. Not that gives him anything, but he said it was reassuring. So it's a 9 out of 10 from me. The fans gave him a 9 as well. So finally, who is our P1? Isaac Hadjar. Tommy, what's yours? Sorry, the editor's going to hate me for that. I should have said a few things so that it comes up.
We'll slow down now, and then you could have the lovely graphic.
Who is our P1? Isaac Hadjar. There's my scores. Isaac drove phenomenally well, as we know, and no one else is more deserving than that for my P1.
Yeah, it's definitely Isaac Hadjar. As I said, it would be an 11 if I hadn't used it.
Can't keep saying that, Tommy. You can't keep doing this.
Well, they're my grades.
Yeah, the 11 isn't there to be given out, Tommy. You've already done it. We both have.
Yeah, we set the rule, didn't we? We said we're allowed 1 11 a year, and
we did. Now we need 5 11s. There we go. Perfect. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this Driver Ratings episode for the Dutch Grand Prix. We're back once again for the Italian Grand Prix literally this weekend. Looking forward to that on YouTube and Twitch for our watch along, as always. Tommy, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, as much as we banter about the driver ratings and how when we have a crazy race it makes it more controversial and you have to have opinions on how people did based on their kind of performance and also good fortune, it also makes it way more interesting. So, despite us having disagreements, and I'm sure other people have disagreements, it's a lot more fun when we can kind of have interesting debates about why we think things are better than others.
And just because we may have given a driver 1 point higher or lower does not mean we hate them, okay? This is all just a
apart from Matt, who hates Fernando Alonso.
I actually just revel in your disappointment and sadness.
Yeah, that was basically just a bait grade.
Yeah. So, there you go. Right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.
Bye.